So, about a year ago, I came across something that was written by a gentleman whose name was Bo Lozoff. He was noted to have been an interfaith minister and also a humanitarian who often worked with individuals who had been previously incarcerated as they sought to kind of restart and improve their lives once they were released from prison. And the writing read, there are three fundamental rules that all wisdom traditions say will help us accomplish our task if we follow them. The first is to be cautious of materialism. Don't want too much. The second is to dedicate yourself to something you believe in, something you think is beautiful and important. The third is to commit yourself to a personal spiritual practice that you can follow every day, even if just for a few minutes. Devote some part of your day sitting in silence and saying, here I am, guide me. The point is that if we search outside ourselves for the meaning of life, we'll probably never find it. But if we center ourselves and look for meaning in life, we'll find that it's waiting for us right here in the present moment. Instead of looking for the meaning of life, look for meaning in life. That's one way or perspective to consider as we enter into our lesson for today. This lesson is the fifth and final installment of our Dare to Prosper Prosperity series for this year. It's been a series that we have aligned with our overall 2020 theme, which has been Dare to Make a Difference. You recall that throughout this year, we have been guided by that word dare that we have used as an acronym to stand for dream it, affirm it, realize it, and express it. In our four previous prosperity lessons, starting back in January of this year, we looked at the teachings of prosperity through the lens of spiritual master of prosperity and living an abundant life, Eric Butterworth. We've gone deeper into our first basic spiritual principle that affirms only one presence and power being active in our lives, and how our lives would unfold and prosper if we just approached each day as if God is all there is. We then took a look at spiritual wholeness, radical wholeness, as we remember the truth of our own spiritual identities and how everyone has the ability to express that wholeness in its entirety, regardless of whether there are any specific circumstances, challenges, or physical differences between us. And then most recently, back in October, we worked with the writings of Carolyn Mace and her invitation to ask ourselves if we have the guts. Do we have the guts first to see each day as one that will never come again? Secondly, to start each of those days affirming to be a willing vessel, a willing servant of spirit. And thirdly, to every day have an ongoing conscious dialogue with what she called our true Trinitarian selves, spirit, soul, and body. All of this as a means of just moving higher and higher into more abundant states of spiritual consciousness. Today, we're going to take that phrase of looking for meaning in life and use the combination of abundance and gratitude to see what we might find. Now, I was reading about this combination of gratitude and abundance in articles written by author and Buddhist teacher Jack Kornfield and also Unity World Headquarters CEO Jim Blake. Now, Mr. Kornfield's thoughts looked at abundance in relationship to desire. And he noted that how Buddhism is often mistakenly taken as a practice that condemns desire. But it's quite the opposite. Buddhism does not condemn desire. It recognizes the presence of desire to the extent that it says that there's no getting rid of it. But their teachings don't center on it. Instead, they choose to speak and to teach of abundance. And at the heart of those teachings is this premise. They teach we already contain that we most deeply desire. We already contain that we most deeply desire. And when I read that, my mind, my attention, it just immediately reacted, to that word contain. It didn't say that we already have what we most deeply desire. It said we already contain those desires. They're already within us. We are vessels for them to exist and then to come forth in whatever form of expression they might take. So they can't be material, tangible objects inside of us. So they must be something more along the lines of, qualities or feelings or experiences that are more intangible. And if we look at these forms of abundance as what we deeply desire, I believe that many would be the same for a lot of us. For example, I think that a very high majority, if not all of us, do have a deep desire for the freedom we already have, for its continued strength and expansion as we placed into our words of prayer that began our service. The same might apply to our desires for the gift of life that we already have, or for the love that is already present in us and in our lives. It could also be a desire for the depth of connections that we already share with others, whether that be in our personal relationships or in that spiritual context of being connected as one with all people. I mean, just think about how many times that word connection has been mentioned right here in these services, usually in our times of fellowship following our Sunday service. COVID-19 has taken away our ability to safely connect in person, and that's been greatly missed, greatly missed. But in the context of abundance, as we were speaking of it today, our desire is for something we already have, that we already contain within us. And I would offer that those connections, they are more intangible energies that are contained within our hearts. Those have actually strengthened and grown and expanded and prospered to a very great degree this year, as has our awareness of and gratitude for them. And perhaps it's just one of those gifts brought to light and no longer hidden by all the darker challenges of the pandemic. And where we might begin to see some differences between or amongst us is how those inner experiences of abundance impact the movement in our individual lives. I think about our teachers and how much they must desire to teach and mentor our children. How much they must want every child to be given every opportunity to succeed and to prosper. They can only offer that to our kids if they contain it within themselves. How much abundance must they be aware of being present within them in order to do all of the pivoting, all of the jumping through hoops, the personal learning, and then the creating, the risking of their own and others' health, all these things that they have done just to give our kids a chance to find their own desires. Our medical personnel, how deep within them does their desire and love of life exist? Where is it in them that they are finding one more way, and then one more way, and then another to care for literally millions of people who have been infected by COVID-19? See, people who are able to connect to this sense of abundance contained within themselves, these are people who often then begin to radiate with a sense of worth and purpose. They begin to operate from a sense of value, not only their own, but also the value that they see and honor in others. They begin to express in ways that tell us that they know that they have something to give. They know that they've got something to give to the rest of us, to give, to make manifest in this world of ours. And there's a passion and there's an enjoyment in doing it. We all were just given the gift of that in expression through the music video that was offered right before this lesson began. It is very hard for me to explain to you how much our music team has missed being with you live and in person, playing and singing their song. Singing their song, not songs, song. And I say that as a means to refer to their passion, to refer to their commitment and their dedication to a desire that is so deep within them, abundantly present within them. Early this past Friday morning, Carol sent me the video, and she asked me for my feedback, on how the sound was coming through on my end of it, doing just those final steps before getting everything into its final form. And I'd like to share my reply that I sent to her with you. I wrote back my honest feedback. This brought me to tears. Just seeing all of you together, then seeing the shields and the masks and the distancing, the empty sanctuary, hearing those lyrics several times, when we all meet again. It just touched my heart and allowed me to release more of the emotional impact these last several months have had on me. It also depicted the unending dedication and loving determination all of you have shown in bringing music to all of us. I am so glad I saw this ahead of Sunday. I might have found myself unable to start the lesson right after. I can't wait for everyone to see it. Our music team does not have all they need in a material sense. The right equipment and sound connections for online streaming, a professional video camera and equipment, ample internet bandwidth to upload videos and share them much more quickly than it takes them right now. But oh my God, do they have an abundance of the intangibles within them? Oh my God, do they have a willingness to get up every day and just say, okay, here we are, guide us. And oh my God, do they epitomize what it looks like to stop asking about the meaning of life and instead show all of us what incredible meaning can be found in life right here in a present moment. That video and the gift it gave to me, it is one that I'm going to be carrying in my heart from here on out. And although I've said it privately, I want to say it publicly right here. I thank Carol and Roland and Ernie and Meg and Kelly and Yvonne for giving of themselves, giving of their abundance to all of us in such a special way. So let's spend some time now on today's partner to abundance, gratitude. Unity's CEO, Jim Blake, offered his own definition of gratitude when he wrote, let's call it the conscious practice of feeling and sharing appreciation for the people, events, circumstances, material and non-material blessings in our lives. So I see this kind of gratitude practice as being kind of an offshoot or a result of establishing that inner state of abundance referenced by Mr. Cornfield. And I think that this year is one, to reinforce the importance of it being a conscious practice, a conscious one that brings us to the present moment, that lasers our focus on what's right in front of us. How many of us have noticed throughout this year that we may have taken a few things for granted more so than having consciously practiced and expressed gratitude for them? How many of us may be planning on setting one of those New Year's resolutions to bring this more into balance in 2021? Well, personally, I found that I couldn't wait to 2021. I found that gratitude as a conscious practice was something that would become my saving grace that I needed to help keep moving through this year. As I noted a few minutes ago in talking about our music team, I've not been unaffected by what has been 2020. And I figured out pretty quickly that I needed to establish some sort of daily practice to support my moving through the ways in which I could or would be affected. And I landed on gratitude in the moment. Gratitude for the big and the small things in my life. Gratitude for what I had instead of focusing on what had been taken away. And while gratitude across a broad spectrum like that is great, I really have found that it's been my focusing on the little things that has really lifted my spirits. They have been what has brought forth those inner feelings of joy and have helped me to remain mentally and emotionally and spiritually centered and relatively positive without ignoring or negating any of the challenges that do exist. And one of my more recent reasons to be grateful was one of these smaller things. This past Wednesday night, I was on a video call with my son, Nick, and his entire family. Nick is the son who has 4 children, the youngest being 3-year-old twins. And my granddaughter, Scarlett, is one of the twins, and she's at the stage of talking. And I put talking in quotes, okay? Throughout most of the call, I didn't understand much of anything that she was saying. Even my son wasn't sure how to translate some of what she was trying to impart. But every time she wanted to say something, she got up and she would just walk right in front of the camera and just call out, "Grandma, grandma, 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 grandma." She kept saying it and she would not stop saying it until I acknowledged her. And then she'd say what was ever on her mind. And after an hour of this, it became pretty comical to all the rest of us. But after the call ended, I felt such gratitude and for many things. But I have to admit that my primary thought was, how could I not be grateful that for at least 1 hour that evening, Scarlett's 3 favorite words were grandma, grandma, grandma. What is it for you? Or what are they for you? What are the small things that you can notice right in front of you in the moment every day that just automatically bring forth a deep sense of gratitude in you? What is it that seems to almost automatically fill you with that joy or appreciation or celebration? Things that go so far beyond having a prosperity consciousness focused only on the manifestation of material form. Jack Kornfield, he suggests it could be something so simple as seeing the steam rising from a hot bowl of soup that you've just prepared for your lunch, or watching fog lift off of melting snow. These days, maybe it's the grin that's drawn with a Sharpie on the outside of your nurse's mask as you visit with him, or the celebration you feel inside when you wake up and realize that you have been given the gift of another new day. See, the ripple effects of gratitude, they are healing. They are healing. They touch our lives in ways that have been shown to improve our physical health, to have positive impacts on our productivity, on our overall well-being. And they also help us to see what is truly important in our lives. See, gratitude, it's something doesn't require a lot of study. It doesn't require any training. Often it's just the commitment to focusing on what's right in front of us. Author Tama Kieves provided our quote of the week for this week, those words that we shared earlier in our statement of unity when the service began. Thanksgiving is about gratitude and realizing the abundance that is present when you acknowledge it. When I invited you to affirm those words back to me yourselves, you'll recall that I changed that word you to I. Thanksgiving is about gratitude and realizing the abundance that is present when I acknowledge it. And I did that because of what Tama went on to offer in her writing. Because she then said, I'd like you to acknowledge some often overlooked abundance. The richness you bring to your world just by being yourself and being true to your soul. I wonder if you have ever thought about how many people you touch as you go about your days. I wonder if you realize when you decide to shine the light that is you, do you realize how many blessings are taking place? If you know that even if someone can't literally see that divine light, the truth of it and all that it represents is being felt in some way, like I felt watching that music video. You see, I don't think you would be here, honestly, present and committed to each other, to our spiritual community, if you were not consciously exploring the meaning in your life, if you were not consciously choosing to live, especially this year, with greater intention and with a greater focus on love and compassion and empathy and peace. Tama Kieves speaks to this as being present at the table of soul. Present at the table of soul. The Thanksgiving holiday is a perfect time to take a seat at that table for a few moments or more. Because you see, it's at this table of the soul. See, that's where all sense of self-judgment, it's suspended. It is a table where your place setting is made up of all of the courage, all of the strength that you have brought forth this year, all of the achievements that you have made in the midst of so many challenges, all of the shifts that have occurred within you as this year has gone on. It is a table where the candles at its center shine a light in which you can bask in the gratitude for your uniqueness. Bask in gratitude for your own individuality, for your abilities, your skill sets, and even what you may call your weaknesses. I am so personally grateful for each and every one of you. I spoke earlier about the difficulty that can sometimes exist in trying to verbalize feelings. What I can say is that my gratitude has come forth from feeling from you so much love and support and encouragement, always, but especially this year. It has come forth from seeing in you such commitment and dedication in assuring that our mission would continue undeterred and our connections would not be broken, but they would be strengthened. It has been as if I have heard Tama Kieves' words coming to me from you, saying, hey, it's going to be okay. You've got aces in your hand you don't know about. You have another day. You have a loving God that loves you through and through and through, and you have me. I am so grateful to have you in my life. And I'm so very grateful for all of the ways in which you enrich this life week in and week out. And so, from my heart to all of yours, happy Thanksgiving to you, your loved ones, family, and friends. God bless you.